Here we see Groundhog moving around in his den. Apparently, he is getting ready to leave. He is pretty serious about this. His home is getting messed up by smaller dinosaurs, and of course Titan is messing him up and tormenting him, so he plans on leaving to find a better environment for him. He looks around in his area, just for the last time, for getting ready to leave. Here we can see him moving into Ceratosaurus territory, but he likes to take risks and moves on in this area. However, the Ceratosaurus is watching him. Groundhog isn't aware the Ceratosaurus is watching. The Ceratosaurus keeps on roaring at him, and the two square up. They try to see if they're larger than each other for one last chance. If one's larger than him, or at least looks stronger, one will run off. But it looks like apparently they're close to the same size. They square off and get ready to fight. However, the squaring seems to keep on going on until they finally get ready for combat. Groundhog bites onto the Ceratosaurus' neck, causing some blood loss. Not major, but the Ceratosaurus is frightened and can't move on, and decides Groundhog's not worth fighting. Groundhog is victorious, but still has to go to Hell Creek. Here we see him moving around in the plains to Hell Creek. He moves around, checking out the environment, going on his journey to Hell Creek. But then he hears the roaring of distant herbivores. Sounds like a herd of them. But what's special is who they are. That's right, it's a herd of herbivores. All of them. They're all back. Last time we saw them was in episode 1, which was 3 episodes ago. It appears they're all doing pretty well. Despite the fact that Aloe's been harassing them, they're still doing pretty decent. But they all seem just to be moving around. This behavior is natural for herbivores on this island, where herbivores herd up despite being different species. We call this unique herbivore of the Isle. It's where herbivores of different species herd up together, even ones that aren't really herds like Bishop Long or Ankylosaurus. They don't seem to be doing much but grazing, while others just hang out. In fact, let's take a look at some, like Blade. How's he doing? Looks fine. Groundhog is still watching them from a distance. He moves over and trips. He roars in pain as he fell on his face. Then, unfortunately, the herbivores hear it. They all look. They're all getting into a defense circle to keep Groundhog away. They're not standing by while Groundhog, a predator, is nearby. They form a circle together, and Groundhog is trapped. Their plan is to kill Groundhog, literally. Groundhog has no choice but to make his own gap in the herd. He gets ready. However, he can't choose which one. They're all just as deadly. But then he chooses Will. he bites out on Will's arm and runs for it. Thankfully, he escaped with some of Blade's blood. He goes back to the plains where the herd of herbivores have moved on. He keeps on going. However, a familiar Tyrannosaurus is following him. He's in his territory. And it's Mark. Mark has friended Groundhog, who runs off. But Mark's hungry and keeps on chasing and tries to make a good shot. Groundhog falls over and Mark knocks him down. Mark is ready for a meal and goes in to feast on his kill. But then Groundhog roars at him, tries to scare him off. And then Groundhog gets up and goes in and fights. Mark is too startled to try to fight back. Mark is trying his best. And he knocks down Groundhog and makes a break for it. It's too much of a risk for Mark. However, Groundhog's problems aren't over yet. He still has to cross the rock desert. One of the worst places to be. He decides he has no choice but to move on. It'll take a while. It's 7 miles wide, but he has no choice but to keep on going. Groundhog gets ready to go. Suddenly, he's in another part of the island where Hell Creek is. He can't believe himself. He's there. He's at the environment of Hell Creek. He runs there. He is very thirsty. Can't believe it. He's been spending hours traveling to Hell Creek and finally he's there. He is where he belongs. He takes a bunch of sips, goes around the water to warm himself up. He gets wet, just so he can, because he was in the heating sun for a while. It takes a lot of water to drink it, all of it. He is as happy as could ever be. The hardest part for this now is to find his spot in the area of Hell Creek to claim as territory. He is as happy as he could ever be. However, something terrifying has been following him. It's Titan, the mutated Giganotosaurus. Groundhog is frightened by his old enemy, backs off, and gets, Titan roars, tries to scare him off. Groundhog runs and hops onto a rock and gets away as fast as he could. Titan follows him, but then bangs his body into the rock. He gets hurt. And a few more bites. Groundhog is scared and runs off still. Groundhog tries to bite him, but he keeps on banging his head into the rock. So he moves on with some head injuries He doesn't feel like food anymore, so he passes by his Triceratops corpse he killed. Groundhog sees if he's gone. Time is. Groundhog now is feasting on a Triceratops Titan killed. He is very happy that he survived this day, and he's at where he is at his destination. However, he is not the only Utahraptor in this area. In fact, his brother's also here.